So what would you do if the next time you pick up your phone, the voice on the other end says, "We've kidnapped your brother," or maybe your son, or maybe your husband or your wife, and if you don't come up with cash for ransom, your loved one's going to be hurt? It sounds like something that you'd see in the movies, but it's not. As a matter of fact, it's happening right here on Delmarva.
And joining us today to tell us more about these phone calls and what you should do if you get this call is Pocomoke City Police Chief Kelvin Sewell. Chief, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Wow.
Nice to be here again.
This would be scary for anyone. I can't imagine getting this call, but if you get this call, what should you do?
Well, the first thing you want to do is try to obtain as much information as you can from the person who called you. Try to find out the telephone number. If it's blocked, ask the person on the other end of the phone the telephone number. If they don't want to give you the number, or don't want to give you any of that personal information, then a red light should go up. Something's wrong here. They're calling you, soliciting you for money for a loved one, but don't want to give you any information in reference to them. Therefore, you know something is wrong, and I would try to immediately hang up the phone and then call, try to locate your loved one on your own, which happened in the case I'm about to talk about.
So point blank, it's a scam.
It definitely is a scam.
So watch out for that. Well, how are these people targeting the victims? How are they coming up with the information they have?
Well, what we believe is predators go through your trash cans. They go through your mail, you know, junk mail. Go through, as you know, these days we have technology that we didn't have back in the day. They go through technology and try to find as much information as they can about you, and they use that information to try to solicit you for money.
Wow, and is it really starting to show on the elderly because it's such a new area?
Yes,
for
the
them?
elderly, the predators try to contact the elderly more often than any other individuals, because the elderly, they know that quick thinking on a younger person might not affect some of the elderly, and so they use them, they solicit them to try to obtain money that way.
So if you get this call, don't just hang up. You're saying you actually need to try to get information from these people.
Yes, and just remember that it's a scam, and people on the other end trying to solicit money from you, if it's legitimate, they will give you all the information, their credentials. If the individuals on the other end don't want to give you any information in reference to themselves, then you know something's going on that's wrong.
In the process, make sure you don't give them any information.
Exactly. And don't give them any information as to your name, your address, or anything. They already have your telephone number because they called you. And you want to ask them, how did you get my telephone number? And see what type of answer they give you. But a lot of times, like I say, they go through your trash, they go through your personal belongings that you throw out, and they use that information to try to gain solicited money from you. And that's their whole scam.
So you get this call, and you find out it's a scam. What do you do next?
The next thing you should do is immediately call the police department. We want to know about these individuals. We want to go out, we investigate these cases, and want to find out who the individuals are so they can try to solicit anyone else. We want to lock them up. We want to put them in jail so they can't scam anyone else.
And you had a particular case that was really coming out lately with the phone calls.
We did a couple of weeks ago. We had an individual in Pocomoke City who was called and said their relative was in a bad accident. At that point, they were kidnapped, and they needed money right away to get that individual, that loved one, out of the trouble that they paid a ransom to get that individual released. The person did not want to identify themselves to the elderly lady in the community. They did not want to say who they are, not a telephone number, not where they were from. At that point, the elderly lady, she thought about it and she hung up the phone and she called the police.
There we go. Good thing to do. Chief, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Appreciate that information.
And of course, we will have all the information along with the Pocomoke City Police Department's phone number on our website, delmarvalife.com.
Well, still ahead on Delmarva Life, could your body be trying to tell you something? You have the occasional stomach ache, maybe a back pain. How a few common ailments could be a warning sign of cancer.
Plus, many people who do have cancer often struggle with their body image. We'll introduce you to one woman who is helping them gain their self-confidence again.
And a local woman whose husband died of cancer last January shares her story of what she went through when she herself was diagnosed just 5 months later. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.